Hello. My name is ILLMANI SUHAIMI from class BNS, and today I will be presenting to you about Parents Teachers Association PTA for my ITPM project. Project scenario. Case 4. Parents Teachers Association. Parents Teachers Association in Malaysia is established to engage parents with school activities and students' welfare. Activities of this association include the annual general meeting, sports day, awards day, and other activities on social responsibility. Surprisingly, the event attendance and monitoring are done manually in every association and school in Malaysia, causing a hassle in compiling accurate data to the Ministry of Education. In making these tasks more efficient and effective, a system is required to be designed, developed, and implemented for this association. The expected outcome of this project is an integrated system that has at least event setup and event attendance modules across multiple schools in Malaysia. This system should be able to detect and handle the records of parents, i.e. event participants, of children who are students in different classes and different schools, as well as auto-detect and update the students' records in the beginning of academic year. For a start, this system will cater for schools PTA in Petaling Jaya. Your team were appointed as the developer of this application. Your ultimate tasks are to prepare a complete project management blueprints of the system. You were given 6 months to complete the project with a budget of Rm 500,000 to implement the plan. Task 1. Project Kickoff Meeting. Among the details of the kickoff meeting includes the date, which is held on the 4th of February 2021, the project name, Parents Teachers Association event system, and the location, which is held at ILLMANI. Meeting objective. The objective of this meeting is to start or begin the Parents Teachers Association event system project on a good note by introducing key personnel and important stakeholders, assessing project goals and milestones, as well as discussing about the current and future plans of the project. Meeting agenda. Introduction. Introduce the sponsors of the project, elaborating the significance and value of the project to the sponsors, define roles and responsibilities, introduce key team members and project manager, as well as introduce the project team members to one another. Project overview. Review of the project background, purpose and plans, review of the project estimation, timeline, and work breakdown structure, elaborate the structure of the project, as well as explaining the tools and methods that are to be used. Closing. Discuss about potential and future collaborations regarding the project, review of the potential risk and gains, as well as a Q&A session. Further assignments. Schedule a follow-up meeting on the 11th of February 2021 to further discuss about many topics regarding the project. The person in charge will be IZZAT bin SUHAIMI, and the assignment due date is on the 9th of February 2021. On the right represents the original project kickoff meeting in a document format. On the left represents the original project kickoff meeting in a document format. 1.2. Project Charter. The details of project charter includes the project name, which is Parents Teachers Association Attendance System, the date of project approval, which is on the 4th of February 2021, the end of project date, which is 4th of July 2021, and the project manager, which is ILLMANI bin SUHAIMI. Project description. Objectives. The objectives of this project is to design and develop a simple yet efficient and effective attendance monitoring system for the use of the Parents Teachers Association during their events to ease the burden of the Ministry of Education to compile accurate data from those events. The monitoring system that is to be developed will have several functions and utilities which will enable it to detect, scan, handle, and mark the attendance records of any parents or guests that are attending those events, and will sort them according to the school that their child is enrolled to and even to their own respective classes. The Parents Teachers Association attendance system will be implemented but not limited to the following events: Annual General Meeting, Sports Day, Awards Day, and any other activities on social responsibility. Constraints in priority order. Time, 6 months. Budget, Rm 500,000. Scope, multiple schools, events in Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. Project deliverables. An attendance system that is implemented in multiple schools in Malaysia that will be able to detect, scan, handle, and mark the attendance records of any parents or guests. The system is also able to assist the Ministry of Education to compile secure data. Project rules and responsibilities. Key personnel. First, Ahmad Aminuddin bin AMIR. Occupied roles. Sponsor. Position within the team. Director General of the Ministry of Education. Second, IZZAT bin SUHAIMI. Occupied roles, Project Manager. Position within the team, Project Manager. The third, Muhammad HAZMAN bin MOHAMED. Occupied roles, Team Member. Position within the team, Quality Control Leader. The fourth, Nur Aiman binti MANAP. Occupied roles, Team Member. Position within the team, Head of Accountant. The fifth, Muhammad Ammar SAIFULLAH. Occupied roles, Team Member. Position within the team, Logistic Team Leader. On the right represents the original project charter in a document format. On the left represents the original project charter in a document format. 1.3 Project Business Case. Executive Summary. The Parents Teachers Association event system is an attendance monitoring system that is aimed to centralize all of the data that is gathered during any social events or gatherings that are held by the Parents Teachers Association, that is included but not limited to the annual general meeting, sports day, awards day, and any other activities on social responsibility. The aim of this project is to create a system to replace the previous system that is able to monitor the attendance of the students as well as their parents during any such events throughout multiple schools in Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. Problem statements. Below are among the reasons that were brought up to justify the execution of this project. First, a high volume of paperwork is involved due to the current existing system that requires all attendance to be manually done. Second, the current system is an inefficient way of compiling accurate data for the Ministry of Education in Malaysia. Expected benefits. First, a centralized attendance monitoring system that is able to automatically sort and compile data of all information that is processed during a Parents-Teachers Association event or any of their social gatherings. Second, the system will be able to reduce the amount of errors that is currently present within the current system, which is done manually. Timescale and cost. Projected time, 6 months. Operational cost and/or budget, RM 500,000. Constraints of the project. First, the project that is currently proposed must be an impressive and valuable enough asset for schools in the Petaling Jaya district for them to want to implement the proposed system during their Parents-Teachers Association events and social gatherings. Second, current and future consultants, client, and any other potential sponsors must actively want and support this project. Due to the total project cost of RM 500,000 and a time limit of 6 months, their support and approval is essential for the completion of the project. Third, several members of the project team members must include those from the Parents-Teachers Association members from the Ministry of Education, as well as from current client organizations that are currently supporting this project. Fourth, due to the need for the system to be implemented in multiple schools in Malaysia, starting first from Petaling Jaya, the current hardware specifications that are being used by those schools must be considered for the system to run in an efficient manner without any sorts of problems occurring, and for how long. Fifth, due to the information that is needed to be compiled by the Ministry of Education, accurate data must be collected by the system and a team of supports must be available to prevent or minimize any sort of data loss that may or may not occur. 6. The attendance system must be easily accessible by the current consultants and clients. 7. The system must be in a secure and protected network to prevent any unauthorized use from outsiders that may have ill or less than savory intentions. Business options. First option is to do nothing. Despite the complaints by the schools and Ministry of Education, the current system of the school has been managing itself well enough, and even without the assistance of this project, the schools will be able to operate normally without any repercussions. Though without the assistance of this project, the data that is collected manually during any Parents-Teachers Association events will be prone to human error. The second option, paying for existing software. There is a plethora of currently existing attendance monitoring software that is available on the internet. The use of any of this software will improve the data that is collected during any Parents-Teachers Association events while also not overwhelming the school staffs with too much paperwork. This option does assume that the school is willing to pay a monthly or yearly fee with varying costs to use the software in question, and the data that is collected by the software is stored in an unknown server. The school must also trust the company that made the software to not use and abuse the data that they are collecting. The third option, designing a new system. This option will be made to design a new system from the ground up using the expertise of a contracted company to create a project management blueprint for the system. The design for the new system may or may not use the existing hardware and or software, while also implementing new hardware and or software to accommodate the system, and will prove to be cheaper and much more efficient in the long run, since the school only needs to pay the maintenance cost of the system, and all data will be stored by the school without risk of being abused by any third parties with ill intent. From the data that is gathered and from the meetings that were held with the stakeholders and clients, we have decided to go with option number 3, that is to design a new system for the school. Major risks. The first is malware. There is a risk with less tech-savvy people and or staffs that are not familiar with the new types of hardware and software. Digital hackers may trick them to download malware-ridden software or tools and will take control of the system remotely without anyone knowing until it is too late. The second is theft and loss. Unauthorized users who are able to gain access to the system will have the opportunity to steal sensitive data that may harm the school as a result of theft. This will severely impact the reputation and integrity of the school, and parents will now doubt the school's capability to keep their children safe. The third is lack of interest in the project. As stated in the business options, there is a myriad of readily available tools and software that are available on the internet for the school to use. Those readily available software may detract the support and approval of client and stakeholders of the project, with them questioning the existence of this project if the tools are so easily acquirable. On the right represents the original project business case in a document format. On the left represents the original project business case in a document format. On the right represents the original project business case in a document format. On the left represents the original project business case in a document format. System software architecture. In the system software architecture, the user will first start by inputting their personal information such as name, age, and gender in the GUI aspect of the attendance system, also called the front-end program. Once the information has been received, the system will run its own services, which includes IC verification, image detection, pre-processing, etc. Once that has been done, and if all information received is appropriate, the data will be sent to the resources of the system, which has a separate database for information keeping at the main server. Lastly, if everything is running correctly, the main server will then inform the front end of the program that the information has been checked and received. It will then display a process confirmed message to the user, informing them that their data has been stored and that they are free to proceed. With this, I would like to end my presentation, and I hope you have a very good day. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ammar SAIFULLAH bin Muhammad SHUKRI, and I will present work case for Parents Teacher Association PTA. For task 2 is a scope document. Our project scope statement is project manager is ILLMANI, and our project justification is the parent association event system PTAES will be creation of a user-friendly web-based application that is to be during the parent-teacher association PTA event to ease the burden of the Ministry of Education to compile accurate data from those events. For our project description is the parents-teacher association event system is an attendance system that implement in multiple school Malaysia that will be able to detect, scan, handle and mark the attendance record of any parent guest. Project objective is to design and develop a simple yet efficient and effective attendance monitoring system for the use of the parent-teacher session PTA. A high-level requirement for the first point is user access for the tool application grant to the client and sponsor, admin access to support team, standard template for all report generation to client and sponsor must be compiled within 6 months, must be complete within the allocated budget of 500,000 ringgit. System must be able to run without problems during any parent-teacher session PTA event. For task 3 is a work breakdown structure. This is our WBS that have 4 level. And for second is a Gantt chart. As we can see, the initiation phase, planning phase, execution phase, design phase, development, testing, and then go back to development and user training period, and maintenance and support phase, monitoring and controlling phase, and project closure. For task 3 is a smart criteria. For the first stage is for the specific for the project initiation phase is to form and organize a team that has the capabilities to complete the project tasks that are assigned to them to the best of their capabilities. This team will be comprised of several experts to act as a leader of their assigned role as well as new hire that will complete the more menial tasks for the project, of which the project manager is among or even the most important one. The responsibility of a project manager consists of planning, organizing, and directing the completion of specific project and project goal, will ensuring that these projects are on time, on budget, and within the scope of the project. For measurable, the measurable aspect of the project initiation phase is to set several goals and milestones early on, ensure that the project is headed toward the right direction. These goals are milestones that be viewed as a step or steps to gauge the success rate of overall project. Failure and success that are encountered by the team during this goal will set as a precedent for future goal and milestone rise or lower moral for a team will be setting. Up high low expectation for the sponsor and client of the project. Second is actionable. That which are actionable for the project initiation phase consist of several and various answer or solution to the current and future problem that may or may not occur during the undertaking of this project. An organized team recognize that current problem that are faced, proposing a solution for those problem, defining an achievable goal are among the component that make up the attainable aspect for the project initiation phase. Relevant. Although the although the project initiation phase is built upon lovely ideas, several aspects of the project initiation phase must be considered to be relevant, realistic, within reach for the project to be considered a success. That is among the reasons that documents such as a business case, project charter, project agenda, and kick-off meeting must be first draft and stabilized for the project to commence the existence of the document mentioned. Keep the various goals and tasks of the team much more grounded within expectation. It ensures that there are no misunderstandings between team members of what they need to do. Eliminating misunderstanding, avoid any ambiguity regarding the project, and etc. Time bound. The time that is needed to draft and complete the project initiation phase estimate to be 12 days according to the charter gun. Those 12 days will be consist of a brainstorming succession between members, creating, discarding, and renewing ideas, as well as other tasks that is needed to ensure that the detail of the project are established early on for the benefit of the team member as well as the overall project in general. For the second stage is for project planning phase. The specific of the project planning phase is where the team state how they are to able complete project within a certain time frame. This usually come with many stages that define early on a design, the appropriate amount of resource to complete those stage. Among them are setting the objective of the project which are measurable, identify deliverable that are that the team is expecting, planning the operative schedule via Gantt chart as well as making support plan for the worst case scenario. Measurable. The measurable of the project planning phase is to see or measure the project via previously established that defined goal. Measurable goals are able to help the overall progress of the project while keeping team members motivated to complete their assigned tasks by the required date and time. For this to able to success, the team must be able to know how to measure those goals so as to not waste any of the time once the goal has been reached. Certain metrics are needed to measure their progress. Those creating project Gantt chart is considered to be priority to create an easy to understand timeline for the whole project. Attainable. The attainable aspect of the project is planning phase is to break down the large tasks of the project into several smaller and easier tasks that is to be delegated toward the other team member. Relevant. The relevance of the project planning phase is important due to the fact that it establishes what needed to be done at where, by when, at what time, a set of specific tasks or tasks needed to be complete. This streamline our entire process of the project to discern whether or not the goal that were set are achievable within the constraint of the project, time and budget. Time bound. The time that is needed to draft and complete the project planning phase is estimated to be 14 days according to the charter Gantt chart. Those 14 days will consist of ironing out current and future plans that are made to complete the project as well as consider other options while keeping the very constraint of the project in mind. The third stage is design phase. The specific of design phase is will be established the key feature of the system that is to be made, the overall structure of the system criteria of what determine the project is success as well as all the measurable deliverable that can be present during the final stage of the project. The reason the design phase is important is because this phase of the project help the team to develop one or more design that can be used to achieve the desired project goal that we have established. And for measurable aspect of design phase is ultimately measure the relationship between any required specification that were asked by the client, whether or not any of those requirements are realistic to be implemented, how to achieve those requirements within the time and budget constraint, as well as creating a design that best fit all of the want need of the client in realistic manner. And the attainable purpose of the design phase is ability to identify and designate the key component of the system that is to be made, what part of the system need to be added or removed from all overall design, how does one or multiple specification and component that is added or removed affect the whole system does negative way, and etc. For relevant, the relevance of the design phase is shown during the executing of the project with design that is made toward the system managed to be complete while following and implementing all the necessary requirement that was established. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad bin Amir. I will talk about smart criteria list from 4th stage to 7th. 4th stage about development phase. In the specific of the development phase, everything that will be needed to implement the project is arranged. Potential suppliers or subcontractors are brought in. A schedule is made, materials and tools are ordered, instructions are given to the personnel, and so on and so forth. The measurable aspects of the development phase is to measure the time that it takes to complete the entirety of the project. The factors such as the quality expectation, budget, project scope, as well as time frame of the project is all taken into account and considered during this phase of the project. The attainable prospects of the development phase is to build, create, discard, and improve any flaws or positive features that may occur during the development period. The team that is charged on developing the system will need to start their work during this part of the project so as to ensure the success rate of the project using their chosen programming language. Relevant. The relevancy of the project during the development phase is shown during the early or middle part of the development period. At that time, various minimum quality testing will be made to ensure that at the very least, the system that is written will be able to perform the bare minimum requirements of what it needed to do before implementing more features to it. Codes will be re-reviewed and rewritten to ensure that nothing is wrong with the system before being completed and deployed in a controller real-world setting. The time that is needed to complete the project planning phase is estimated to be 18 days according to the charter. Those 18 days will consist of writing the code for the overall attendance system and defining various system module features, what is expected of the program to do, what is not intended for the program to do, and the initial minimum testing for the completed system, etc. Fifth stage. Fifth stage. Testing phase. The specifics of the testing phase of the project will consist of various activities that is designed to investigate and examine the progress of the project. This is to ensure that depending on the results that are documented, the project will be able to progress at its intended rate. This phase of the project will also provide future and existing clients as well as sponsors for the project with information regarding actual levels of performance and overall quality of the project. Measurable. What is measurable during the testing phase of the project are the failures and success of the tasks that are given to the system to perform on various levels. In this phase, the likelihood of an issue occurring, bugs and glitches are to be expected and is expected to be fixed or ironed out before the end of the project. The attainable prospects of the testing phase is hopefully a completed attendance system free of any potential problems and bugs. Everything regarding the experimental phase of the system is documented in detail for future reference, and that the system will be able to function properly in a real-life scenario. The relevancy of the project is shown during this period of the project due to the various standards that the system will need to pass to ensure that it is running in an optimal condition. Various goals and milestones will need to be achieved in the testing phase to ensure that project is running smoothly and to boost the morale of the team members. The time that is needed to complete the project planning phase is estimated to be 16 days according to the charter. Those 16 days will consist of rigorous testing to verify the functionality of the system and to make sure that the system is free of any fault. The test result of the system will be closely monitored by the working teams member, and any fault or problems that are found will be documented in detail as well as the solutions found. Sixth stage, deployment phase. The specifics of the deployment phase. Deployment is considered to be the mechanism through which the application modules, updates and patches are delivered from the team to clients and sponsors. The methods used by the team to build tasks To build, test, and deploy new code will impact how fast the system can respond and be modified to change according to the requirements that are established. The measurable aspect of the deployment phase is to see whether or not the system will be able to function in a real-life setting and how and for how long. Will the system suffer a breakdown? Will there be an unexpected problem or bugs that had managed to escape from the watchful eyes of the team members? And so on and so forth will be seen during this period of the project. What is attainable during the deployment phase of the project is ability to mass produce and deploy the system to the various clients and sponsors. Once the system has passed all of the deploy checklists that has been set, the project is now ready to enter one of its final phase. The relevancy of the project is shown during the deployment phase, where the team project members will collect data regarding the system that was deployed and how it fared, as well as the feedbacks of the testers of the services that is offered by the system. The time that is needed to complete the project planning phase is estimated to be 14 days according to the charter gun. Those 14 days will consist of closely monitoring the deployed system and its performance in various settings using either prepared, different, or readily available hard and software. Final stage, 7th stage, user training phase. In the specific of the user training phase, the goal of this phase is to educate and train the end users by having a hands-on training session, giving out an instruction manual or even a video that shows the user how to effectively using the system. This training period will help them prepare the users for when the system will go live. End users or client sponsors can judge whether or not process flows of the system are working or not. When the users are involved with using the system being part of the project, regardless of how small, they will feel more confident regarding the system and will review the system implementation as a success. What can be measurable during the user training phase is how long the end user will struggle in handling the project, how easy it is to comprehend the instruction given, and the time it takes for them to fully utilize the system expertly without making any mistakes. Attainable. The attainable prospects of the user training phase is the result that the end users are able to easily comprehend the instruction given and that they are able to expertly use the system without any fault. The relevancy of the user training phase will be shown during the middle to late phase of the project. By then, the end users are now able to fully understand and utilize the system to its fullest capabilities and acquired various knowledge and skill in how to operate it flawlessly in their day-to-day work environment. The time that is needed to complete the project planning phase is estimated to be 10 days according to the charter gun. Those 10 days will consist of training the users and the capabilities of the system, what it is intended to do, and to report any sign of it not working. Although the system engineers have stated that it only takes but a few days to fully understand how to use the system, the recommended period is still 10 days due to the fact that some clients are considered to be technologically illiterate and may take longer to comprehend the system. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Muhammad HAZMAN bin Muhammad. I'm from BNS course. My ID number is 52211219072. Okay, today I will explain about strategy for scope validation for parents teacher association event system. PTAES projects. First, we will see the scope validation strategy for this project. The scope will separate into 3 sections. First section, input. Second, tool and technique that we will use in this project. The last one is the output. There are a few things that will be the input. The first thing is project management plan. The project manager create the project management plan following input from project team and the key stakeholders. A project management plan is a formal approved document that defines how the project is executed, monitored and controlled. It may be a summary or a detailed document and may include baseline, subsidiary management plan and other planning documents. This document is used to define the approach the project teams take to deliver the intended project management scope for the project. Second thing is documentation requirement for this project. All hardware, software and tools that are needed to execute this project successfully must be documented in detail to avoid problem in carrying out this project. After that, we must verify deliverable of the requirements. This is to ensure that all requirements are adequate and meet the desire for the project to be undertaken. The next input is system performance data. This data is very important in every project implementation process. From this data, we can know in detail about the disadvantage and advantage of this system. Next, we will move to tools and technique section. In this section, this first thing we need to do is system inspection and verification. This step is to ensure all the system is running perfectly and it passed the verification process before we can proceed to the next step. After the first step is done, we will proceed to group decision making. In this step, all project team members will discuss about the system that we will use in this project. All project members need to articulate their respective point to support their decision. After all the experts have finished assigning their point, the decision will be made by choosing the best one. The last section is the output. In this section, there are a few things that will be taken seriously. First thing is accepted the deliverable. Make sure the project will run according to plan. Next thing is change requests. The change that are needed to be done in this project will be due in this section. After that, we will gather the system performance information. The data about the system that have used in this project will be evaluated. The last one is project document update. The team have to update all the data in the document according to what have changed that have been made. Next slide is about the scope validation of this project. First, confirming that client and sponsor have received the system that was agreed upon and formalizing the acceptance process. Second, be aware of the perception of the acceptance of this system by defining and validating each project deliverable. There will be a few perceptions about the system that have been developed. Third, discern the objectivity of the system process. This step is very important before executing any project. For we have to perform quality check of the system and all the deliverable to make sure the system that have been delivered is in a state where as desired. Lastly, validate that the system and the project deliverable have fulfilled the requirement and criteria that has been established once it is completed and function accordingly. This will be given the most important attention. This slide will talk about the change control. We have to comparing baseline specification and any change to the actual project result and what is actually feasible to be implemented. Second, we need to determine the probability that any remaining deliverable will be completed according to the project charter. The last one is pinpoint the necessary action that need to be taken to ensure that the project and system result will meet forecasted project milestone and goals. Next, we will move to cost model for parents teacher association event system. In order to calculate the cost of providing service, it is necessary to design and build a framework in which all costs can be recorded and allocated or apportioned to specific customer and other activities. Such cost model can be developed to show, for example, the cost of each service, the cost for each customer, or the cost for each location. Cost model are simple equation, formulas, and or functions that are used to measure, quantify, and estimate the effort, time, and economic consequence of implementing SPI method. There will be 6 sections in this cost model. First section is project initiation. There will be 4 cost division in this segment. The project manager will be paid RM150 per hour. The project team's member will be paid RM100 per hour. There will be budget allocation for 300 hours multiplied by RM100 per hour and the contract discussion. The second section is project planning. This project total cost is 29,200. This section is included the project recognition, determine project procedure and work statement, comparing hardware used in this project and develop system structure. The third section is about project design and implementation process. This section total cost is RM192,800. This section included design system and project implementation process. The next section is the project monitoring section. The total cost of this section is 60,000. In this section is to ensure functionality test, project meet the exact deadline, and the project is within the budget. The fifth section, project closing. In this section is to make sure the objective and the client need are met, and all the documentation process about this project will finish in this section. There are 15% of reserve cost. This cost is to ensure there will be excess cost that can be used if any untoward incident occur. The total project cost estimate for 6-month project process is 500,000.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Aiman Binti MANAP, and I would like to present on task 6 and also task 7. These are the list of quality standards and also requirements. Below are the quality standards and requirements that were implemented to meet the expectation of the clients and also sponsors. First and foremost, we have the conduct user training. A training session for users is to learn on how to use the system. Is essential to ensure that they are familiar with it and can use it effectively. On this point, we have to train the staff on how to use the system correctly so that there will be less mistake have been done by the staff, and the staff can use the system effectively. Next, we have privacy and also security. Because the system contains confidential information, the project team should ensure that the system has the highest level of privacy and security for the users. They should also ensure that high-level encryption is used for data breaches. A high-level encryption is used to avoid data breaches, hackers, and also attackers from entering the system, which contains confidential information, data, and also staff information. Uh, Therefore, this system has the highest level of privacy and security that is beneficial for the users. Next, we have user-friendly. The system's interface must be user-friendly in order for users to understand the system flow and how to use it, raising the number of happy users from 20% to 80%. This system has a very user-friendly interface which can be easily used by every stages of age and increasing the number of happy users from 20% to 80%. Next point, we have efficient. This efficiency reduce the average time which takes to complete a job from 5 minutes to 2 minutes. The efficiency of this system is high, so that the average time for a user to complete a job is with around 2 minutes to 5 minutes. Point 5, we have dependable. Eliminate the hassle of taking attendance during a meeting by centralizing the attendees' information. In this system, we have been centralizing the attendees' information on who and who are not joining a meeting by taking attendance online. 6, we have 6, we have intuitive. Within 2 weeks of the system launch, 80% of the users have entered the attendance into the system. Next, we have increase work productive. Increase the system productivity from 60% to 90%, as for example, by providing monthly or annually reports on attendance at parents and teachers meeting. Next, we move on to the risk register. 7.1, the negative risks. As we can see over here, we have around 5 risks, and we have created it. We have put in this in a sequence based on the priority. On the first risk, we have the risk description of on how the project purpose and needs is not well defined. It is the priority is high and the likelihood of the occurrence is medium. This risk has the impact on the system, which is changes, big or small, will be requested throughout the project without following the already established requirements. And the response strategy will be define the project purpose and needs precisely and accurately for the project to avoid future complication. Next, for the second risk, we have the project design and deliverable definition is incomplete. The priority will be high and also the likelihood of occurrence is low. The impact on this risk is the product that is delivered may not be what the clients and sponsors are expecting and will cause mass confusion. So in order to avoid this mass confusion, we have the response strategy on defining the project design and deliverables so as to avoid any unexpected design changes and to make sure that the project is able to fulfill the requirements that has been established early on. Next risk, we have project schedule is not clearly defined or understood, which is the priority is medium, then the likelihood of occurrence is low. So the impact of this risk is the project will be completed late, angering the clients and sponsors. Hence, in order to avoid this angering from clients and sponsors, We have to clearly define the project schedule of what needs to do, who needs to do what time and what and where. Next risk, we have lack of communication causing lack of clarity and confusion. The priority will be medium, and also the likelihood of occurrence is medium. The impact on this risk will be project members will be confused on what or whose order to follow. Morale among team members will drop and they will be frustrated. Hence, in order to overcome this situation, we have the response strategy of whole regular team meetings to brief all team members of the overall progress of the project. Last but not least, we have the risk description of unplanned work that must be accommodated. The priority is high, but the likelihood of occurrence is low. The impact on this risk is team members will be burdened with more work than expected, delaying the overall progress of the project. Hence, the response strategy would be check what works need to be done, in what order or priority to make sure everything is accounted for. Thus, even if unplanned and unexpected work were to occur, the team will be ready to accommodate those tasks and works. Last but not least is the positive risks. We have the positive risk management plan over here, which contain on 5 risks. First and foremost, we have the risk description of potential upcoming changes in policy that could benefit the project. The priority of this risk is high, but the likelihood of occurrence will be medium. Hence, the impact of the risk will be changes in policy will either speed up or delaying the progress of the overall project. Therefore, the response strategy would be make sure that the team members will be prepared in advance before any of the changes in policy will be implemented. The second risk is a request for additional resources, materials, tools, and also training. The priority will be medium, and the likelihood is also medium. Hence, the impact is any additional resources that is given to the team will boost the morale of the team. The team will do more works and also encourage with high moral value. The response strategy will be sure to submit a request for resources a week in advance to ensure that the team members will not be blindsided with additional resources. Next, we have the lowering the amount of work hours for the team members. The priority is low and also the likelihood of occurrence is low. The impact of this risk is team members will not be overburdened by work, resulting in better quality of work and also expenses of potential delaying the project. The response strategy will be ensure that all of the team members are doing their work appropriately, reducing the potential of making errors. Uh, last, the second last is train team members in how to do their tasks more efficiently. The priority is high, but the likelihood of occurrence is medium. Hence, the impact summary will be team members will be more knowledgeable at the cost of taking time away from more experienced team members. The response strategy is to make sure that all of the team members are briefed on what they need to do and that they know how to do it. Last but not least is the risk of increase the minimum budget of the project. The priority is high, but the likelihood of occurrence is low. The impact summary of this risk is the project will have more resources to work with to increase the quality of the project at the expenses of potential disappointing angering, upsetting the clients and also sponsors. The response strategy would be a meeting will need to be held with existing clients, sponsors, and stakeholders to brief them on the situation. That's all from me. Thank you.